Okay, this one right here reminds me of. I don't know if any of you have ever read the Left Behind series, but there's a part in it where what Obama has just done, happens in that book. Okay, in one of them books. This one says Obama gives himself control of all communication systems in America. Okay, that in itself is scary. Okay, it says U.S. President Barack Obama silently signed his name to an executive order on Friday allowing the White House to control all private communications in the country in the name of national security. President Obama released his latest executive order on Friday, July 6th, a 2,205-word statement offered as the assignment of national security and emergency preparedness communications functions. And although the president chose not to commemorate the signing, oh my gosh. And although the president chose not to commemorate the signing with much fanfare, the powers he provides to himself and the federal government under the latest order are among the most far-reaching yet of any of his executive decisions. The federal government must have the ability to communicate at all times and under all circumstances to carry out its most critical and time-sensitive missions. The president begins the order. Survivable, resilient, enduring, and effective communications, both domestic and international, are essential to enable the executive branch to communicate within itself and with the legislative and judicial branches, state, local, territorial, and tribal governments, private sector entities, and the public, allies, and other nations. Okay. President Obama adds that it is necessary for the government to be able to reach anyone in the country during situations it considers critical writing. Such communications must be possible under all circumstances to ensure national security, effectively manage emergencies, and improve national resilience. Later, the president explains that such could be done by establishing a joint industry government center that is capable of assisting in the initiation, coordination, restoration, and reconstitution of national security and emergency preparedness, which is NSEP, communications services or facilities under all conditions of emerging threats, crisis, or emergency. Okay, sounds crazy, don't it? And it goes on to say, the views of all levels of government, the private and non-profit sectors, and the public must inform the development of NSEP communications policies, programs, and capabilities, he adds. On the government's official website for the National Communication Systems, the government explains that infrastructure includes wireline, wireless, satellite, cable, and broadcasting, and provides the transport networks that support the Internet and other key information systems, suggesting that the president has indeed effectively just allowed himself to control the country's Internet access. Okay, that is also scary. So basically what it is, he controls our TV, which is our broadcasting. He controls our cable, satellite, wireline, which means he controls your landline phones, your satellite TV, your cable TV, your local broadcasting, your internet, wireless includes your Wi-Fi internet, your cell phones. Think about that next time you want to have a conversation on your cell phone. I've read somewhere too, I can't remember what it was I saw it on, that they are able to read your text messages. When you text back and forth to each other, they're able to somehow read your text messages. Okay? Can we all say a great big fat invasion of privacy? I mean, seriously. Who does he think he is? And it's not just us. It said global. It says private sector entities and the public, allies, and other nations. So it's not just his own country he wants to control. It's the whole world. Okay. So can we say Hitler? Anyway, it goes on to say, in order to allow the White House to reach anyone within the U.S., the President has put forth a plan to establish a high-level committee calling from agents within the Department of Homeland Security, Pentagon, Federal Communications Commissions, and other government divisions to ensure that this new executive order can be implemented. Okay. And by controlling the broadcasting, then he can control what the news does and does not show us that is going on in the world. Okay. It's bad enough. Some things don't make it to the news anyway, but now, for certain, some important things that we should know really won't make it to the news at all. Yeah, I have to say that's pretty scary. And it says, in explaining the order, the Electronic Privacy Information Center writes that the President has authorized the DHS, which is the Department of Homeland Security, the authority to seize private facilities when necessary, effectively shutting down or limiting civilian communications. In Section 5 of this order, President Obama outlines the specific department and agency responsibilities that will see through his demands. In a few paragraphs, President Obama explains the executive committee that will oversee his order must be supplied with the technical support necessary to develop and maintain plans adequate to provide for the security and protection of NSCP communications, and that same body will be tasked with dispatching that communique to the federal government and state, local, territorial, and tribal governments by means of commercial, government, and privately owned communications resources. Later, the President announces that the Department of Homeland Security will be tasked with drafting a plan during the next 60 days to explain how the DHS will command the government's emergency telecommunications service, as well as other telecom conduits, in order to be able to spread the White House's messages across the country. President Obama also asks for the purchasing of equipment and services that will enable such. So while we got states in California going bankrupt, and when we got poor people starving to death all over the country, and homeless, and people not able to find jobs, and all this other crap that's falling to pieces in this country, instead of spending money on that, he's going to spend money on this. Okay? I don't agree with it. I don't think it's right. I think it's a big fat invasion of privacy. And anybody with any sense knows that I'm right. It is an invasion of privacy. I mean, seriously? Is he really serious? It's just one more thing for y'all to think about. I don't agree with it. You know, some of you may not care, may think that, you know, everything that he says is written in stone and is the holy word or whatever. You know, I watched a video the other day about a guy. He was talking about something that Obama had did. It was something bad, and the guy thought it was okay because Obama said it. Because he said it, then it was okay. People, you need to be careful who you trust. Because every little new thing that has happened, the UN, the whole UN thing about our water, about the water in the West, the whole UN arms treaty thing, all of that, each thing is just one more right that they are taking away. It's just one more thing that they're doing to take away a little bit of our freedom at a time until we have no freedom. Until they start telling us how to think, how to talk, when to talk, what it is okay for us to say, I mean, it's ridiculous. It is ridiculous. Hope y'all have a good night. Just thought I'd give y'all something to think about.